Hello, folks. Welcome. Just getting started here with Lee. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and get us up and running on Facebook. Just bear with me for a moment. If you're here in the Zoom room, go ahead and find the chat feature and let us know. Let us know you're here, where you're watching from, all that good stuff, and we'll get started shortly. And remember, when you're using the chat here in the Zoom room, you can change the option to send to everyone and not just host and panelists. That way everyone can see your comments and questions, and we can have a good conversation. So I see we've got Robert from Toronto. We got Melanie from Noonan, Georgia, nearby where I used to live since moved. Joanne from Houston, from Bulgaria. Wow, people from all over. That's great. Awesome. Okay, we are live on Facebook. So if you're watching over on Facebook, same thing. Let us know you're watching so we can see you there, and we'll get started in just 1 second. Okay, we got, oh, and of course, Lee is joining us from, is it Finden or Finden or Finniden? How would you?
It's Finden.
Finden. All right. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started then. We've got folks here in the Zoom room. If you're watching on Facebook, let us know. We got Kimberly over there. Hey, Kimberly, glad you could join us today. I'll just do a quick intro and we'll go ahead and get going. We won't procrastinate this any longer. So hi, everyone. I'm Emily from GoWP, for those that don't know me. And welcome to today's GoWP webinar, which is how to get things done and beat procrastination with Lee Jackson. Really quick, I just want to say a couple words about GoWP in case anyone watching isn't familiar with us. So at GoWP, we create happiness for digital agencies. We do that by helping them to become more profitable is basically the bottom line. And how do we do that? By helping them grow their team. So we have services like dedicated developer, dedicated copywriter, outsourced services like maintenance, content edits, landing page builds, case study service. So you can grow your team. There's Lee's shirt right there. Love it. You can grow your team with us by hiring our developers. Or you can, take some work off your plate by using our outsourced services, which are completely white labeled. So we just want you to be able to focus on growth and growing your agency, and the rest of it we've got covered for you. So apart from that, we've also built an active community of more than 1,600 agency owners, where we regularly hold group phone calls. This webinar is live streaming in that group right now, and it is the GoWP Niche Agency Owners Facebook group. So if you're not a member, if you're here in the Zoom room and you're not a member of that community yet, we'd love to have you. And I will post the link to it right now so you can go over there and join the group. And we'd love to have you there. So if you have any questions about partnering with GoWP or the GoWP community or any of that kind of stuff, please feel free to reach out to me, Emily at GoWP.com. Also, I'm in that Niche Agency Owners Facebook community, so you can find me there anytime of the day. And happy to help with any of that. A few notes regarding the webinar. I'm going to be watching the chat. So I see we've already got Melanie letting everyone know she has a limited edition pink GoWP shirt. I think you're the only one with that one, Melanie. So, sometimes we do take special requests for special people. So there you go. So I'm watching the chat. If you have questions, if you have comments, anything like that, I can help to get those over to Lee, or we can save them at the end for Q&A. One way or the other, we'll get to your questions and help get all that sorted. I'll also be watching the comments over in the Facebook group. So get your questions in over there, and we will bring them into the webinar and help to get all those kind of things taken care of at some point or another within the next 45 minutes or however long we hang out here today. Okay, so let's get to why we're here today. Lee Jackson. Lee is the host of Agency Trailblazer podcast. He is the dad of 3 awesome kids, and he's the happy agency owner at Event Engine. Having gone through some very dark times in his agency and personal journey, he has a passion for teaching other agency owners how to fall back in love with their businesses again and develop a lifestyle that suits them. If you know Lee, you know that he has basically zero interest in selling you anything or helping you make millions. His real objective here is
I
to
don't know
help you
how to
get
make millions.
his real objective is just to help you get time with your family through the content he makes freely available to everyone who wants it. And that's what makes him happy. And it's so true. I've known Lee for going on a couple of years now, and every interaction, every time I talk with him, it's just so true. And I love any moment I get to spend with Lee or learn from Lee. So I'm so happy to have him in our community today and sharing his wisdom and experience. So welcome, Lee. Thanks for joining us.
Let me try it just to start off with. That's wonderful. Thank you. Well, shall I get cracking then?
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and mute myself and you can take over.
So if I can get a thumbs up, you should be able to see my content.
Looks good.
Cool. All right, cool. Thank you guys for joining me. So this is a conversation about how to get things done and to beat procrastination. And I will confess to you right now from the very beginning that this is a talk I did for an event recently, and I procrastinated about getting this presentation put together. So from the get-go, you are learning from a professional procrastinator who somehow manages to get some stuff done. I want to tell you a little bit about who I am to illustrate how I am able to get things done. First thing is, like Emily mentioned, I am the co-founder, in fact, of Event Engine. Event Engine has been going for many years, and we provide professional conference organizers with the ability to build at scale many event websites. These are professional conference organizers who will do, say, 100 events a year, up to, say, 900 events a year in multiple different verticals. So they're very busy companies, loads and loads of staff. They need to be able to fire up sites quickly, and they also need something that's easy to use and good support. So it's kind of enterprise grade stuff. We do all of that on WordPress because we absolutely love it. And I'll tell you now, we've not activated Gutenberg yet. I'm sorry, guys. We're using the classic editor on thousands of sites. So if anyone's got any hugs for a guy who can't get on well with Gutenberg, then just send us a message later on. So we have Event Engine. We also have Agency Trailblazer, which you may see is soon to be Trailblazer FM. Big shout out to Mark from Designbox, who has been helping us with the rebrand. That's Tom and Mark over there. Thank you so much. Agency Trailblazer is a podcast I've been doing freely for 6 years now. And again, it is to help agency owners just to fall in love with their business and get time back with their family. And you'll find out a little bit why in a minute. Next, I'm also a Cloudways Maverick. That means I'm a brand ambassador. I show up for Cloudways on live streams. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll be aware I was at Brighton SEO for 2 days. I was representing Cloudways at their stand, helping them generate leads, make sales, all that sort of stuff. So I'm quite a busy guy. Of course, one of my favorite jobs. It's actually my favorite job. If I could get paid for this, I'd be very happy. It is being a husband and a father. I've got a beautiful wife. She's gorgeous, and 3 amazing children. My youngest is 1 year old. My oldest is 21 years old. So thank you. I know I look young. And finally, I am a professional procrastinator. I absolutely procrastinate all the time, and yet still somehow find the time to get things done. I've kind of hacked it, so I want to share the hack, and I'm pretty sure you will enjoy this. So let's next go into a time machine, and this will give you a little bit of background as to where I've come from, what's driven all of this. I'm also being called, so I'm just going to turn that down. I forgot to put my phone on mute. Sorry, guys. So a few years ago, I was an agency owner of what we would call ourselves a full service agency. That means we were ridiculously stressed because we provided absolutely everything to everyone. We were working really, really long hours, 18-hour days perhaps, and then getting up again early in the morning. To give you an illustration, some of you may recognize this in your life, that I would be working until, say, 3 or 4 a.m., getting a site finalized and pushed over the line. And then I'd have to get up at 7 a.m. for the actual go live. So I'd only have a few hours sleep. It was very, very stressful. Throughout all of this, I also struggled with some personal addictions. It was really hard to give things up because I was always so tired. So it was easy for me to fall into these things that I was addicted to. During this time, I was letting so many people down. If you think this is just after the 2007-2008 recession, for those kind of 2 years or so, it was absolutely hell on earth, us trying to win as much business as we could from pretty much anyone. And we were saying yes to things we shouldn't have been saying yes to. So I was letting people down left, right, and center. I was upsetting my teammates. I was upsetting my clients. I was over promising, under delivering. I was saying yes far too much. And the thing that hurts the most is that I was hurting my family. I was not spending time with them. I wasn't spending time with my wife. I missed so much time as my middle daughter was growing up. And that kind of sucks because I was convinced that as long as I kept working harder and harder and harder and harder, I would eventually achieve my goals. If I continue to do more of the same, which is the definition of insanity, then I was kind of expecting that at some point there would be different results. Now that could go off on a completely different talk, which I'm more than happy to share with you. If you just connect with me, I'll share with you a copy of a talk I did recently about resetting my agency and how all of that journey happened. For this, let's talk about the procrastination hack. What changed in my life to make this shift happen from a guy who was working in a full service agency, ridiculously busy, 18-hour days, working weekends, checking emails on holidays, not really having holidays? What changed? And the first thing was that I had to accept that I was a work in progress. And that's kind of hard to do. We look at other people, we look at how successful people are on the internet, and we think, holy moly, I am nothing like that. I am not as energetic as Lee. I am not as organized as Nicole Osborne. I'm not as efficient as Emily. I'm not as cool as Brad. Brad Morrison, there you go. We just compare ourselves to other people, and by doing that, we're setting these standards that we then don't achieve, and we feel bad about that, and we put ourselves down. So the first thing I really had to start doing was just recognize I'm a mess. I'm a work in progress, and I can sort this out. I just need to accept that I've kind of messed things up, and that's okay. I forgave myself for my past. I looked back at all the mistakes I've made over time and thought, okay, I'm not going to beat myself up about this. I am still a work in progress. So I understand that it will take time for me to achieve, excuse me, it'll take time for me to achieve these goals. It'll take time for me to get out of this rut. And whilst it's still going to be difficult, I've got a completely different mindset about it. I also did a little bit of research, and it turns out that procrastination is actually quite good for you. It's okay to spend 25 minutes of super focused work and then go off and, I don't know, surf the internet or watch a bit of Netflix. That's actually good because it gives your brain a rest. So I recognized that I could use this skill I had, this procrastination that was leading to 18-plus-hour days. And I could use that to my advantage by doing focused work and then rewarding myself with a break. Excuse me. I also recognized that over the next few weeks, months, years, as I wanted to make a personal change in my life, that I was going to continue to make mistakes, and I will continue to make mistakes until the day I pass on. And that's just a fact of life. We're all human. We are all fallible. And again, it's absolutely fine because we pick ourselves up and we keep going. So what I did was I started to map out what I wanted to achieve in life. I looked at my past and said, it's okay. I looked forward to the future and said, it's not going to be perfect, but here is what I want to achieve with my life. Where's my next slide? There we go. So I'd encourage you to grab a notebook, watch the replay in the Facebook group. That's the the niche. I've forgotten the words. The link's in the Zoom notes if you want to join, if you're not part of that group. Watch the replay and then write down, what are your dreams? It can be absolutely anything. It could be to write a book, go to the moon, whatever it is. Write down what your dreams are. Then for each one of your dreams, ask yourself, how would you feel, or what would you feel if you achieved them? Actually imagine yourself achieving those dreams. When you're imagining that, think, how would that actually change your life? If I did complete the book, how would that actually change my life? How would I feel about it? How would it change my life? And then once you've done that, take a look at those dreams and say, I wonder which one I'd like to go for. Maybe put a few stars next to those dreams. The reason I've shared that with you is exactly what I did a few years ago where I said, I've got all these dreams. I want to start a podcast. I want to start a YouTube channel. I want to be able to help more people because things have changed in my life. I want to share value. You know, there's all these things. I want to go to the States. I want to spend 2 months in Florida. This was one of my dreams. We've done it since. It was awesome. It was just a great and healthy exercise to A, accept that I'm a work in progress, and B, just write down a whole lot of goals that I'd love to achieve over the next few years, just as a starting point for a little bit of inspiration. Here's a few examples for yourself. You may be thinking, I've got a book in me. I'd like to write a fiction book or a book about business, whatever that be. Just write that down. You could be, again, like me, wanting to launch a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to start a new business or evolve your business. Maybe like me, you want to move abroad at some point. So that's certainly a long-term goal for us. We're still here in the UK for a couple more years, but we are really keen to get out over in the States, over the next few years. So that's one of ours. Maybe you want to break an addiction. Maybe you want to lose weight or just create some form of positive habit in your life. I'd encourage you, once you've written down those dreams, choose one thing. And I'm going to tell you the hack in a minute. Choose one thing. That one thing needs to have a positive effect on your life. It needs to actually have something kind of measurable, something that you can see is good for you, that you can enjoy, that will make you feel some form of happiness or satisfaction. It also needs to be something that you are truly excited about, something you are really passionate about. I started years ago in IT, not because I was passionate about it, but because I knew it made really good money, and I hated it for years. So don't go after something that you think's going to make you rich because it makes good money. Bitcoin's boring to me and stuff like that. I want to chase something that makes me genuinely excited. Also, whatever it is that you want to chase, make sure that you actually have the ability to do it or the contacts to be able to do it. When I was younger, I'd always have these big sky high dreams, and I never really had the skills or the experience to achieve them. Therefore, I never really got very far, and that was always disheartening. So kind of try and find something within your list of dreams and goals, something you really believe you could achieve with the skill sets that you already have or the contacts that you already have, something that you can begin to see the results of as in a reasonable amount of time as well. You don't want to be picking something that's going to take you months and months and months to achieve. Perhaps pick something that is relatively achievable in maybe 2 or 3 months. For example, it could be that YouTube channel where you challenge yourself to make a few videos. A great example of that would be Nicole Osborne. She's got a fantastic YouTube channel that she's been pushing content out once a week, apart from when she's on vacation. She's really good there, where she will make sure she takes a break for family time, but she's consistently been putting out content now for quite a few months. I think it's almost over a year now, and she's growing her channel one step at a time with the skill sets that she has, with the content and the knowledge that she has. She's doing really well. So I'd encourage you, go and check what she's doing out. It doesn't have to be a big, huge splash. It can just be something that is going to grow over time. And Nicole is already instantly seeing the results of that, which includes leads, which includes invites to other events. It includes more credibility for her brand. She's growing her community as well in Wonderstars. So I certainly recommend pick something that you know you can start to see those results. Here's the hack, and it's called a streak. And it's if you're in the UK, that means running across a football pitch naked. I don't know if you do that over in the States and everyone cheers. This isn't that sort of streak. A streak is a way of gamifying getting stuff done or tracking your progress on something. So if you think of Snapchat, if you're aware of these sorts of apps, you can send messages to each other on a daily basis, and it will increment your streak. And me and my friend Larissa, she's worked with us for a few years, we kind of got a little bit hooked on Snapchat for 1,500 days. I kid you not. I don't know how many years that is, but it's a very long time of sending each other ridiculous messages once a day because we never wanted to break that streak. And then it occurred to me during that progress, or that process, that streaks were ridiculously compelling. And I couldn't quite understand why. But I thought I'd have a go. And I started using the idea of a streak that's doing something daily to complete the first draft of my book. So I've now got a book that's ready to go. It just needs to be edited and it can go out in a few months. I was able to break a personal addiction 906 days and counting, guys. That's 907, sorry, as of today. I was able to begin meditation, something that I really wanted to be able to get into, but found really boring. And I was able to start small and build up. And I now meditate every single day for my mental health. It's been wonderful. And I've also been able to complete multiple reading challenges, including reading the Bible at least twice. That's something I was, so I'm a guy of faith. And when I was a teenager, I always felt like I should have read the whole Bible, and I never did. It took me 25, 30 years to finally be able to get through the Bible cover to cover, because I used streaks, and the Bible's kind of boring in a lot of places. So it is hard work. Being able to use these streaks made it ridiculously easy. And do you want to know why? It's because of this. Small achievable actions lead to big change. This is something that I keep telling my daughter as well as myself. Small achievable actions lead to big change. It is ridiculously obvious, I know. But, you know, any big task, any big dream that we have, we can break that down into small steps. And if we can do a little bit at a time, then we're going to be a little bit closer. There's loads of sayings, isn't there, when, you know, walking up a mountain or climbing up a mountain one step at a time, etc. As we take those small achievable actions, we get nearer and nearer to those goals. We get nearer and nearer to completion. Here's an example. If we're going to plan something, a goal, we can break that down into something we believe we can do, with our skills and talents, but also within reason, within the time that we have and the energy that we have to put into it. And an example I'll give you here is writing the book. I was able to write my own book in 500 words a day. 500 words is a very short blog post. Most blog posts are encouraged to be, say, 1,000 to 1,500 words long for SEO value, etc. So a 500-word blog post once a day, 5 days or 7 days a week for 30 or however many days you want to do to achieve the word count you're looking for is actually very easy to do. Same with reading a book. I read the Bible as a chapter a day. It took me 3 years. It's a long time, but it's still shorter than 25 years of not reading it. With regards to abstaining, I was able to abstain, like I said, 907 days. Pretty proud of that. Exercise. I have had a streak now for a few hundred days. It's not done wonders for me, but I go for a walk at least every 2 days. Make sure that I shift around and I track it on this bad boy here. That's an example of how you can plan your streak. What's really important when you're planning a streak is to then track your progress. Dead easy. Do it in a notebook. Do it in a spreadsheet. I'll happily share with you I made an Airtable that can automatically calculate it. So I'll find the link and I'll share that in the comments in the Facebook group later on. So you can make a copy of that Airtable. It's free. You can use a free account and you can track your streaks in there. Or alternatively, use an app. I use Dailyo for many, many years, and that allows me to simply log on each streak day that I did that particular activity. And note, a streak day means, am I going to do something 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, or am I going to do it every day? And Dailyo, thankfully, gives you the ability to do all of that, and you can view your progress. As you make progress, I don't know, maybe you're a week into the book and you've done 7 days worth of 500 words, then celebrate, reward yourself. I'm not a brain scientist, but I do understand that when we achieve things, it releases serotonin or whatever it is into our brains. You know, I don't know what I'm talking about at this point, but it makes us feel good. And feeling good is good. Celebrate your successes. Set some milestones throughout whatever it is you want to achieve. So for myself, as I continue to abstain, I celebrate once a year. For myself with the book, I celebrated every 7 days, every week of another week of 500 words. I celebrated. And the ways you can do that are just quite simple. Sharing it with other people, maybe a group on social media, maybe with your family, maybe with friends. Just sharing that and getting encouraging messages back is just such a wonderful experience. Maybe buy yourself a gift. Tell yourself you're going to buy this at this point, and then at that stage, you're going to get whatever it is, a Tesla. Oh, I wouldn't want a Tesla. Maybe go for a meal. I love that. Just going out for a meal with my wife is a great reward for getting to wherever it is I wanted to be, one small step at a time. And quite importantly, I'd encourage you to journal your feelings, especially at those milestone moments, saying how you feel, reminding yourself how you will feel when you have achieved that goal, and just meditating on how much progress you have made already as compared to when you weren't doing something as simple as using a very easy to understand streak mechanism. Remember, small achievable actions lead to big change. I want to do a little bit of a recap just to help ingrain this in your mind. And as well, if you have any questions, more than happy to field those at the end. But we all have some form of dream, some sort of vision. And I know so often, it happens to me, we feel down or frustrated that we never seem to achieve them. And we always worry about the what ifs. So, you know, me and my wife, nowadays, when we have conversations about what our dreams are, we remind ourselves that we don't ever want to be in a position where we say, well, what if we had have tried that? What we try and do now is say, do we really want to do this thing? How will it make us feel? Are we on board? Let's go for it. And that's what dreams can be for you. You can do this, but unfortunately, as if you are a fellow procrastinator like myself, then you will probably get excited about the dream temporarily. You'll do a whole load of research in between Netflix, and you will eventually lose your energy and lose your passion, and then you'll stop working on whatever it was. Maybe it was a book, maybe it was the YouTube channel, maybe it was planning to move abroad, whatever it is. That seems to be the ongoing cycle. That's why this stage, this very first stage that I shared, is super important. Writing down what those dreams are and really analyzing how they are going to make you feel. A lot of the dreams we have are dreams that we think we need to have because we compare ourselves to other people. As an agency owner, I know that I've thought I need a gorgeous office with a brick wall for Instagrams and glass walls, kind of glass compartmented offices, and a pool table and a team of 15 to 20 people. I know I've thought that's been a dream, but that dream's not necessarily been something that I'm passionate about. When I think about that, I think, oh my word, that's going to be stressful. That's 20 mouths to feed. That's rent, that's rates, that's all sorts of things. I don't actually think I want that. So it's really good to look at the dreams that we have and just toss out all the ones that we don't really want. We think we want them because we've compared ourselves to other people, or we've been told or conditioned to want those things. Just go after the things that you really want. I've got some books in me. I've really wanted to write some books for years. I know that sense of achievement is going to be wonderful. I also understand that the opportunities for me when I release those books will be phenomenal. A book is like a business card. It's something that can boost credibility. It's something that can generate leads and so on and so forth. So, you know, it's really obvious to me why I should be rocking out with some books. For us as a family to move to the States, we absolutely love America. We love the people. We love the places. We want to go and explore everywhere. You know, we want to explore America for the rest of our lives. Basically, it's a cool place. And if you live over there and you're wondering what the heck we're talking about, I've been stuck in the UK for like 30 odd years, and I know you'd want to come and explore here. I get it. But for us, we can see what that will bring to our family, the experience, the educational impact, the educational experience for our children, etc. So again, this is the most important stage before you even start wrapping things into streaks. What are your dreams? Short-term dreams and goals, long-term dreams and goals, and whittle that down to those things that are gonna have that positive impact on your life. Am I on the right slide? Yeah. Those things that you are truly excited about, those things that you can reasonably achieve, and those things that you're going to start to see the results of. You can then use a streak for pretty much any one of those: completing your book, breaking that addiction, saving up to move, planning the move, etc. And you do that through those small, achievable actions. You track your progress, you celebrate and reward yourself at specific milestones. So what I've been trying to do, folks, is shorten the amount of words I speak. I would love to have Emily on, and let's have a conversation, Emily, and see if I can unpack anything any further for you guys.
Thank you so much, Lee. That was so great. We were having a great conversation in the chat about, you know, how folks are receiving this and what they're working on. Myself, just hearing you go through this, I came to the realization that I have a couple streaks I'm working on now that I hadn't taken time to take stock of and really appreciate, right? The effort that I put into it. So one of them that I mentioned in the chat was, you know, a while back, I realized that I wasn't really reading anymore. I wasn't prioritizing it. I wasn't making time for it. It's so easy to pick up your phone or your tablet instead of a book at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I've been doing for a few months now, really, is reading every night. I plug my phone in when I put the girls to bed. I plug my phone in and I don't touch it for the rest of the night. Doesn't have any notifications. So I think it's like, unless someone calls 3 times in a row, I won't hear it. That's the only time it goes off. So I'll get emergencies, I would think. But other than that, and I pick up a book and I read, and I've finished books again. I used to read voraciously. And so finally I'm getting back into that. I asked some of the other folks in the chat, you know, what they've done. Noah over on Facebook, he's been 10 days now of, and this is impressive, 100 each of push-ups, squats, and sit-ups, 10 days in a row.
Amazing.
That's amazing. I think I would do one day and then the next day I'd be like, I can't. I need a day off.
I'd be in hospital.
So really good job to Noah.
On what you shared, Emily, have you been keeping kind of a tab on how many days that has been?
I haven't. So I took a note also while you were presenting on the concept of journaling your feelings. So that's something I've had in the background always. Like, I know people say the benefits of it and how great it is. And it's something I love writing, so I think I would enjoy it. But it's not something I've prioritized doing. So I would love to do that. And you know, when it comes to reading, it's really only been, it's Goodreads. I can track, you know, what books I've read and finished.
Well, that's good.
And that sort of thing. So there's that aspect of it.
The reason I ask is, so only recently, 23 days ago, in fact, I decided to start consuming 1 Blinkist a day, because I maybe do 3 or 4 a year, and I've spent hundreds of quid with them. I've had that app for years and hardly ever use it. But I also recognize that I don't complete whole books, and it would be great if I could do 1 a day. So I'm currently on, and this is the app I use to track, I'm on 23 days in a row, which is a wonderful experience. And the reason why that's helpful, and I didn't kind of unpack that in this kind of short talk, is that when you start doing those streaks, of course, the power of the streak, first of all, is to break something big down into small achievable actions. But actually, the other thing that people don't often recognize or talk about is that you kind of don't want to break it. 23 days in a row, it's going to take me quite a long time to do that again. For the, reading the Bible here, I've got 910 days here of reading the Bible every single day. I am desperate never to break that ever, because that's going to take me 3 years to catch back up with myself, if that makes sense. That's insane. So that's again one of the powers of being able to track how you're doing. And there's so many apps out there that you can do it with. Super simple.
There are so many.
Pick a box every day.
Yeah, exactly. And that was something Karen mentioned in the chat as well, that she has a checklist of everything that she feels she needs in order to be taking care of herself, right? Whether vitamins, prayer, exercise, those sorts of things. And she just makes sure that she's checking off those boxes every day.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And that's so great. And I mentioned to her, for me, I feel like the challenge would be even identifying what those things are, because there's so many distractions, right? That you think are important, and they're not really a lot of times.
No, absolutely.
One other, so Noah also mentioned he uses Evernote to record his progress on his exercise streaks, but he's a big Airtable fan. So he's excited to hear more about how you use Airtable to track your streaks.
Well, Airtable's kind of cheating. The way I do it with Airtable is I set the start date, and as long as I remember that to do it every single day, then it will automatically increment. And then if I forget, I have to put the end date, and it will then say your total streak for that was so many days in a row. And then I need to create a new record to start over. So I guess there, what you can say is it doesn't matter if you do miss something. Be honest with yourself. You can't lie to yourself. You can't say, oh, well, I'll just ignore that and I'll carry on with the streaks, because you'll always know forever that that was a lie. Start over, but then your next challenge is use the Airtable to compete with yourself and see if you can get more this time around on whatever it was you were doing.
I love that. And I think it's so true what you say, Lee, about the streak you have with reading the Bible. It's so powerful once you get to that certain point, right? Because you don't want to break it. You would worry about ever being able to get back there again. So it's a commitment to yourself, and it's really powerful. So I love the idea of tracking those streaks and being able to hold yourself accountable to them too.
It is. I guess word of warning is it can also be ridiculously addictive, and I'm sure people have wondered whether or not it is. So I would say be careful what you do. And the reason I mentioned right at the beginning of it's really important to pick things that are going to be good for you and things that you're going to enjoy and that's going to add value to your life, is that a lot of us do things that we don't need to do, but we just pile this big list of stuff on top of us. So for me, for my spiritual and mental health, I like to read the Bible. That's about it. And I know that there's a small benefit to me there, so I do that. But equally, I'm not going to try and run 10 miles a day because I think I must have to do that to be super fit and kill myself from exhaustion. So we do have to be careful with what we're doing as well.
And I mean, and like you said, it's small steps, right? So even if your goal is to run a marathon, you're not going to do that on day one. You're going to start by going on some little jog. Maybe start by walking, right? That's all it takes.
Let me tell you about the marathon. So many years ago, I was 250 or 260 pounds in weight, which is, I believe, quite fat. For the UK people, that's like 20 stone, which again is rather large. And I have no idea why my wife said yes, but she said yes, even though she's this beautiful woman and there's this big old me. And I got down on one knee very exhaustedly, and after walking around London all day, and proposed. She said yes, and I looked at our picture that somebody had captured of us, and I was like, oh my word, I'm huge, and we're about to get married in a year. So I decided to do a marathon. I thought it's the only way I'm going to lose weight is to enter a flipping marathon. So I started with a half marathon, but my first run on the first day, I ran kind of waddled, I would say, for 30 seconds and was so out of breath it was ridiculous, and my heart was like douche douche. And then I spent the rest of the loop, it was just one really small block, walking it. I just walked the rest, and then within a few months I was able to complete a half marathon, and then within a year I was actually running marathons, several. I've run like 6 marathons now, not for the last few years because it just sucked too much time. And that's the addiction part, where you need to be careful that you're not putting too much emphasis on the thing that you're doing and dropping out on other things that are important. But yeah, that's, again, it was just small achievable actions. So that really big fat guy managed to become a very thin, healthy guy until it got a little bit out of control. And then I became a too thin, unhealthy guy who had a big head and a small body. There are some horrible pictures. Yes, Karen, absolutely right. Balance. There are some horrible pictures where people were like, Lee, you look really thin. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm amazing. And then I look back and I'm like, oh my word, I look awful, like Skeletor. So now I'm just kind of in the middle. And
that's why I had no idea that you were such a runner. Also, that's amazing. And it's so cool to hear that you've been applying this.
Unconsciously.
For years. Yeah, unconsciously, right? And that's kind of what I realized when you were talking. I was like, oh, I've been doing that. I started biking my girls to school just because, when you work from home, it's hard unless you prioritize being active. You can very easily be inactive, right? So I said, I'm going to take the girls to school on their bikes, and we'll start with that and see where that goes. And it's been 2 weeks now, so that's been going
good. There's a good comment here from Joanne. She says, this is in the Zoom, I try to read for at least 20 minutes every day before bed. I've not been tracking it, but I've been finishing books. So for Joanne, the reward there is completing those books. And you could probably tell yourself, Joanne, if you look past all the books you have achieved already, that's phenomenal. So it's kind of a way of tracking the streaks without having to say, right, I'm doing this every single day and I've got it on a notepad. You're completing books and you can celebrate each one of those. That's really cool. You're a better person than me. I have to listen to blinks. I have no patience for entire books.
What was that? What was that again? One blink or
Blinkist? There's
Blinkist. Okay.
Oh, nice one, Joanne. She does celebrate them. Yeah, Blinkist, that's right. So Blinkist, there's another one called Headspace, but I don't like that one because it's all self-help. The reason I like Blinkist is they've got history and science and philosophy. They've got all sorts of different books, which is cool because there's only so much self-help I think our brains can do. And actually, sometimes it's just really interesting to listen to a bit of history or something. Yeah, that's right. Joanne's saying here in the Zoom that they also have a podcast. They do a whole lot of podcasts. So they've got Dan Snow, who does history podcasts within the Blinkist app, which is really cool.
Very cool. I do want to say for anybody who's working on, fitness streaks and that sort of thing, Strava is great for that. That's what I use. And it's, just an activity tracker. And we do, I created a basically Strava community for our community. I'll share the link there. So if folks are on Strava or fitness streaks or something you're going for, then it'd be cool to have folks in there.
That doubles up there. So what you're doing is not only are you being accountable to yourself with streaks, but then you're also adding the accountability with the Strava club that you've pasted there as well, because you've got other people within the community are going to see whether or not you're keeping up with it.
It is, right? And I just said I'm biking my girls to school.
We're engineering
so
our own pride there. We're like, okay, I'm a proud person. We all have pride in us. So why don't we use that to our advantage? I don't want Emily to know that I missed my run today. So I'm going to drag my butt out there and I'm going to run that, run so she knows that I'm a committed to the cause.
It's true. And Strava, it's very powerful for that. So it works. If anyone's interested, we'd love to have you there. And you can walk also. It's walking, running, and any of that stuff.
I take my son for a walk every morning, so it'll be walks.
There you go. Stroller walks. You're pushing also, right? So, or maybe even carrying. I don't know.
I keep seeing these videos of people in America where they like running with the strollers. So I was doing an impression of them the other day in the street and embarrassing my wife.
Oh, do they not do that in the UK?
No, I've never seen anyone running with a stroller in the UK ever, but I was. And I was loving
cool.
it. It was hilarious.
I had my first daughter was born when I was living in Spain, and I got a running stroller there, and I was the only person with a running stroller I saw too. And
it must be a US thing. I've never seen it in the UK ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, if anyone has any other questions, please throw them out there. I love the conversation we've had. It's been great hearing how people are using these small streaks, or at least now, with what you've shared, being able to apply that structure to it. It's so helpful in saying like, I've got this going. Let's keep it, acknowledge that, and then, be accountable to it and keep it going, and identifying what goals are important to you, what goals are going to make a positive impact on your life in whichever way, your personal life, professional life, in your business, any of those things. This applies across the board is kind of what I was thinking while you were talking. I'm like, this applies to, marketing strategy also. What's our big goal for that?
Yeah. And you can still procrastinate in between. So I'm not actually solving procrastination whatsoever. I'm just saying, here's little bits of ways to keep going in between the procrastination. Because I'll let you know, I've been binging Black Summer on Netflix, and it is brilliant. So for anyone who loves a bit of procrastination, that's a good one for you on Netflix.
There we go. So it's 9 Strangers, 9 Perfect. I forget which one that one's on Hulu. But there's some good ones. Yeah. Very cool. Well, Lee, thank you so much. Again, Lee is in our community. If anyone has any questions, or if you want to send a comment to him, the live stream and all of that is in the Facebook group there. You can find him there. You can also find him at agencytrailblazer.com, agencytrailblazer.com. And I highly recommend checking out his podcast. If you like Lee's style and how he's so honest and off the cuff, and genuine about what he's talking about. His podcast is even more of that, and he gets really deep and insightful in all of his experiences. And that Agency Trailblazer podcast is bar none. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend checking that out. Also, if you haven't, and I'll put the link in there. And yeah, other than that, we hope you join us in the Facebook group, and we'll see you over there. And Lee, anything else from you?
No, thank you very much. Also, keep your eye out for our rebrand that I mentioned earlier on. We're launching it should be mid-October. We've had the podcast has been on a hiatus for a couple of weeks whilst we've been getting everything ready, and then we're going to do a big splash launch, which is going to be awesome.
Very exciting for that. I can't wait for that. We'll be sure to announce that in the Facebook group too, so
Excellent.
Folks don't miss it.
Oh, well, thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Lee. It was so good. I love any opportunity to hang out with you and spend some time and learn from you. So thank you for your time.
Thank you,
and thank you for sharing with our community. We'll see you next time.
Peace. Take care. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye.